It's a Paris Chong show. It's a Paris Chong show. It's the Paris Chong show.
Hello, everyone. You are in for a real treat today. I'm Paris Chong, and this is the Paris Chong show. And it just so happens that Mr. Eli Reed was in town and popped by like a gallery LA last night to surprise me with Bruce Tolliman. I said, oh my God, you have to come and do my podcast. So we have Eli Reed here today. Welcome, Eli.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you here. And he's got a plane to catch. So it was just really, really lucky for us. Now, Eli Reed is one of the most badass photographers you're ever gonna meet. He is amazing, and we did a show for him several years ago. I remember there was an invitation, and it was Tyra Banks getting kissed by a really hot dude.
John Singleton.
Well, hello, yes, John Singleton and Tyra Banks was the cover. It was an amazing show. It was a really hot shot. So I hope Disco's okay there with you.
Yes.
Disco Dog's here too. So what brings you to Los Angeles?
The Milken Conference, where I was part of a panel of 4 photographers, and I knew 3 of them, two of them, and the third guy I wasn't familiar with.
Who were the other photographers?
Well, there's a lady who's Korean American, and the other one's a student that I actually looked at their portfolio a long time ago. Wow. So it was interesting because I had no idea what was going to go there, but since first the 3 of us, we had some time spent together earlier in the day, and you got into some good things like the Korean American woman. She did a thing on how do you call it, the things that were done to the Koreans by the Japanese when they're there. It's a really amazing, powerful kind of thing.
Right.
And the former first student. She's been doing pretty good also, which is why she was there,
Right.
Yeah, so it was a good. I wasn't sure the sound wasn't so good in my ear, so I couldn't really hear some things necessarily. It had a strain, and I was the first one in the States to walk across the long way to a chair, and then it just worked out really good, and things that were asked and what we discussed was pretty good. I mean, the Milken get-together is pretty amazing, and I was really impressed with a lot of things they were doing.
Well, that's really great. Well, of course they have to have you because you're so spectacular. Now, one of my favorite photos that you've ever taken is that amazing photo of Tupac Shakur, and that hangs in the Smithsonian, correct?
Yes.
So when you did this, so tell us, I'm a big Tupac fan, and so tell us about that story when you had, what was that for that you had to photograph him?
No, I did this for personal. It was a personal
really?
thing. Yeah, because I was working on this movie, and Janet Jackson.
Oh, Poetic Justice.
Yeah, Poetic Justice.
I love that movie.
Yeah, and what happened was that I didn't know much about hip hop or that kind of stuff before, and there's stuff that I liked, but I was deeper into I guess some other things, and that was my introduction.
Right.
To
well, we started large.
Yes.
Janet Jackson and Tupac. I mean, it doesn't get any bigger than that.
It was pretty amazing, and one day on the set, he took off his shirt and.
I wish I was there.
Well, he wasn't doing it for me or anybody else. No, he was changing costumes. But I saw that pistol on his chest, and I said, okay. And I just got a good vibe from him, And so I went up and said, listen, Tupac, I'd like to do a personal portrait of you sometime with your shirt off. And he nodded. I guess he knew enough about my own work that he understood it wasn't some nonsensical kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we talked about it a lot during the rest of the movie until then there's a point where I was able to was doing the posters for the movie, and I had my own, stuff set up to do with him, And I remember I had 2 assistants for the regular, stuff for the posters. I told them he was having a rough time that day, and also I think he felt that his time was running, near, and so I told the 2 assistants who were watching, they didn't have anything to do. It wasn't the shoot. Anyways, they said, listen, he's cool. You could say, hello, good morning. Yeah. Don't get into any deep conversations because for one thing, he's working today, and also he has other stuff on his mind that's going on. So you don't need to combine it by get off conversations.
Right.
And so they understood, and it was cool. And so when it was time, I thought we had some time away from shooting the poster and stuff like that to do this portrait. You know, because we've been talking about it almost every day. Once I first talked to him about it, I said, Tupac, it's time. Yeah. And we walked over to a place that I figured out, and he took off his shirt, and I said, stop.
I wish I was there.
Unfortunately, you weren't. He took off his shirt, and he just had I stopped him from taking it off completely because he was in a very I don't call it tender moment, but everything was sort of fiery. You know, he had very good control of himself, in a way, because most people are jerking their head around, still watching for somebody coming after. And actually, somebody an extra on the set tried to attack him.
Oh,
that was not a good move on their part.
While you were taking the photo?
No, this was happening. There was a scene that was coming up, and some extra was trying to, I guess, make his mark or whatever.
Dear.
Well, he went down very quickly, apparently. I wasn't there for that. I was like close to, and I turned and saw this stuff going on, and he just took the guy out real fast, and they took the guy away and said he's not going to work on any other movies. He was an extra, and just that kind of thing. It's like pretty ugly,
So you got the shot pretty quickly then?
Well, when I asked him to take off his shirt, and it was on a place away from everybody else, and I took 3 frames. I knew not anymore, didn't need anymore.
Wow.
I'm a fast.
He must have liked that. I think a lot of celebrities want you just to get the shot. They don't want to take forever to do photos, right?
Yeah, well, we talked about so much. And also, I think the moment I took the photographs, the first 3 frames, it was on a medium format camera. I knew it was there.
You nailed it.
I knew it was there. And I didn't want to disturb him anymore. I mean, sometimes you can make mistakes and give up before. But in this particular thing, he was really... he's really going through some stuff.
Yeah.
He's being blamed for some stuff that he wasn't responsible for, and things like that. And, as an artist, like, you realize that not everybody's going to understand what you're doing or why you're doing it.
Right.
And that doesn't matter. It's like when I'm working on something, I try to clear my head of any other possibilities just to pay attention to everything's going on in a particular scene, what's going on within as deep as you can go inside of a person's head without talking to them,
Right.
And that seems to always work.
So you know how to read people. That's a gift.
Yeah, well, I can't. I grew up in a tough neighborhood in New Jersey, but it was a good neighborhood. There's people from all kinds of different things, but we were the edge of town, and they had in our place, we had a reputation for being the toughest place for family.
Where in New Jersey?
For family, New Jersey.
Wow.
I was lucky to grow up there, though, because, for instance, when my family first moved there, the next door the neighbor, he was the president of NAACP, and so his wife and his daughter were friends with my family. We were all poor,
Right.
But he got a business started cleaning up company places after hours and stuff like that. He was very successful, and also the teachers in the school, they were great. They really. It wasn't like you're looking up to somebody and somebody looking down on you, that kind of thing at all. It was really, especially at the time, the things that are going on in Black America and how,
It's changed a lot, though, now.
It has.
It's changed. It's getting better, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. I mean, just the commercials I'm seeing.
Yeah, I know. It's good.
I'm not going to say what the commercials were, but and not the obvious, like, crazy ones, but just simple things that happen. That's how life
it's
better.
Changing. No, even as a woman, like seeing women that aren't anorexic and skinny and perfect and beautiful in commercials, that's nice to see. Like there's women that are like, big girls in the commercials now.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, because women aren't always these skinny model looking chicks. And so I kind of like the way the world's changing in that aspect.
That's the thing. That's what the world is about in some ways. And if it doesn't change,
it needs to change. So just let me ask you: did Tupac see that picture? Did he ever respond to the photograph that hangs in the Smithsonian?
I took the it's like one of those little moments.
Yeah. So
I don't remember if I did. I mean, I think I sent a picture to him.
Yeah. He must have loved it. How couldn't he?
Well, I mean, the way he was, though. I mean, he might have looked at, nodded, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he had other things on his mind, and I told my assistants, the two of them, who were watching me do this, and one of them had to remind me a few years later what I said to her. She said, I said just distractedly, I said, he's going to be gone within a year or two.
Jeez.
And I was right, unfortunately, but that was such a loss.
It's such a huge loss. He was incredible. Just such an intelligent, amazing talent. Did you get any good portraits of Jeanne Jackson?
Oh yeah.
Miss Jackson?
Well, she was, when I first met her, John introduced us the day before they officially started shooting.
Yeah.
And, it's like she's had problems that not of her making, and I think misused by some photographers also. So she was looking at me like this.
Really?
But she was cool. She was very polite, and then she was looking at the pictures I was taking through the movie, and she liked them. And the funny thing happened, like I was in, I know what happened. It was really funny, but I should leave this one story.
No, you should tell us. We insist, especially if it's naughty.
Well, no.
Jeanne Jackson's story. The
No,
only Norma Jackson.
she was a good. I don't know if she remembers this, but we were going on the road on this. The scene was on the road on this particular day. It was it's a road movie going in some ways, from Los Angeles to Oakland.
Yeah.
And so what happened is she came. She's delivered to the road by her driver. And I said, Janet, you're looking hot today.
Yeah.
And so she smiled and came over and said, Eli, will you marry me?
Aww.
I said, Janet, well, tell me what I'm going to do. I'm going to accept your offer,
even
though I know
you
you're
divorced your wife immediately.
No, I wasn't married. I said, I'm going to. You get me going.
You would have, but I would have if I was.
I don't know if I would have. I don't know. I'm stubborn. Anyway, I said, what did I say now?
You told her she looked hot.
Yeah, and then I said, I'm going to accept your offer, even though I know you're going to renege, because your boyfriend's standing right over there. And the lady found she was already married to him.
Right. She was married at that time.
Yeah.
That's another thing that's changed. You can't really say, like, you look hot now to women. Everyone's scared to say anything now. It's because of the Me Too stuff. No one says. It kind of sucks for women, like, because men are scared of you now. Men aren't giving you compliments or saying nice things anymore because they're just scared that it'll be taken out of context.
Yeah, you're right about that. Because you're thinking about that, and this was like playful. I said, and just was admiring her. And her response was so funny. That was
yeah, I love Janet Jackson. I'm a huge fan of hers too. So now you're from New Jersey and now you live in Texas. How did you get to Texas?
Well, I was asked to give a talk at the university, and they liked what I said and how I said it, and met with students, a couple of classes, and then a friend Donna DeCesare, she's a journalist that worked some really serious things like gangs from El Salvador and things like that, and I think she first did like Northern Ireland when things were going on there, and anyway, she said there's a real strong response to what I did, and would I be interested in teaching, and I thought this is not going to happen because I don't have a conventional degree. I have a degree from art school,
right?
But it's not like the regular degrees and stuff like that. I wasn't even thinking about that because when you get into the work, my main professor was my personal. I was mentor,
Yeah.
And Donald Greenhouse, who's passed on now, he was like a second father to me. And it was not boring, just, hey, it's in New York, too,
yeah.
Los Angeles, New York, And, I mean, it was, and I saw his work for the first time. We're standing on a corner, not on the street, waiting for a bus on 6th Avenue. And because I was sort of new to New York City, even though I lived in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And I was working for a rock magazine. No pay, of course, but you're learning.
Yeah.
We never even discussed it. I didn't care. I just wanted to work in a
What
hospital.
rock magazine?
It's like Zygote.
Okay.
You probably never heard of it.
I have not.
It was there for a while.
I'm a Teen Beat girl.
Okay. Well, Rolling Stone, of course, at the top. And then I forgot the second magazine, the second rock magazine that was pretty good. And we were about, I think, third. Mm-hmm. And, I worked in a hospital at night, and the first time I had any out-of-town assignments was for this rock magazine.
Wow.
It was really interesting. You meet some interesting people, which I won't go into now, but I mean, in a good way.
Yeah.
So, and it's like something I wanted to do, explore different places. Do you remember the documentary, oh, God, it's about this family they did, the Round family, I can't remember the name now, I'm going blank here, but it's the first documentary, I mean, like the kind of things they're doing on television, but for real this time. It was brilliantly filmed and really something new that people hadn't seen before. And as I remember, I think it was in black and white. I'm not sure. Because I just remember the scenes going on, but it wasn't about the color. It was about the moments. And I was fascinated by that, going into some place. And I ended up doing something like that. I don't remember if it was before or was it during, because this was family that I knew.
Yeah.
Somebody I had worked with had an interesting or hard kind of situation. And that was like my first real photo essay.
Wow.
That's a long time ago, and I've never been shown to anybody. It's buried in my negatives.
Well, you have someone helping you now with the negatives, so hopefully you can pull that out,
Yeah.
Lauren, and we can see what he's talking about. So now, now tell us about your time. Now I know you were the first African American man to be signed to Magnum, and that's like a very prestigious photo agency in France. That is a big deal if you get to be signed to Magnum. So how did that come about?
Well, what happened? I was working for San Francisco Examiner, and I was interested. This was in '82, and El Salvador, things were going on, and also I'm interested in history. So it's the kind of thing that I wanted to explore, and I was interested in wanting to do something on the death squads there and the why of it, because I'm trying to figure out. I know it sounds crazy. Now,
it does.
It wasn't innocent, but I felt like, maybe I could find out or talk to people or photograph some situations that would explain to me the why of it. That sounds stupid now, but
No, it doesn't.
Well, to me,
it sounds dangerous, but it doesn't sound stupid.
Like
Someone's got to do it.
Well, like the neighborhood was not like a wild shoot 'em up things like that, but there were tough people in there. One of my friends, a guy who played stickball at the time, he grew up to be in charge of to be the head of one of the biggest motorcycle gangs, like maybe called the East Coast version of the Hells Angels.
Okay.
And I found it out because one New Year's Day, in the New York Star Ledger, there's an article about how he single-handedly destroyed a restaurant. I don't know what the reason were, but I suspect it was probably somebody.
Must not like the food.
No, I think it's funny. I think maybe somebody
the
was.
food sucked.
Well, that could be, but I think it was something more like it was somebody's a smart aleck or something.
Oh.
They picked because
Yeah, you can't do that stuff anymore. You get killed, shot.
Well, this way, he was a short guy, but he had class in a lot of ways. He had a really, what do you call it? I could see that people would listen to him, and I mean, he's a small guy. Most of those guys are lumber and stuff like that. So somehow it's like I was actually, hey, my buddy makes it big. I mean that's not the right way to look at something like that. But he was a good guy. And the first time I got interested in motorcycles was him coming up the hill on his Harley Davidson and slapping my hand at about 35 miles an hour.
Wow.
Because he was just so enjoying it.
Slapping your hand. You have the biggest hands I've ever seen of any human being in my life.
There's bigger hands.
No, I noticed it when you hold a camera, your hand. I'm like, that camera looks so tiny. Look at his hands. Do you see it? Like, I'm serious. You have like the biggest hands I've ever seen. Now, so did when you signed with Magnum, did that open doors for you? Did it change anything?
And I hadn't even thought about that because actually you're not signed until you become a full member.
Right.
And so I got what happened, crazy kind of thing. With ICP, there's a woman there who's really good for looking at new photographers' work, particularly young photographers. And she saw my Central America stuff and asked me to come to ICP, International Center for Photography. And that was the only real formal class I ever took in photography. There was a class in art school, but it was like basic thing. But about photojournalism was an ICP, and so I was glad that somebody from there was nosing because I I had a great experience at ICP
Yeah.
at the time. So I go there to meet her, and she really likes your work, and she's talking about like doing a show at ICP. And then the head of ICP came out. He's a good guy, Mr. But he said, you're just starting out, things are going on. And he was smart, what he said. And I gave him a copy of his 52-page reprint of the work I did in Central America. And he gave me a book that he did in El Salvador. So as we're going out the door, this seems like a long story. It's not going to be shortened. As we're going out the door.
We can edit here.
as we're going out the door, I run into a friend of mine from San Francisco. Okay. And so we hugged and catching up. We sat down on the bench, and I was telling him about because he knew I'd done this work in Central America, but we hadn't had a chance to really get together. It was like 3 months, but very intense months, and stuff like that. So it just happens that Rosemary Wheeler, who's the director of the bureau chief, that's good friends. He met her in Vietnam, and with a couple other big people like the president of Magnum.
Yeah.
And I wanted somebody that was going to say, hey, this is crap. You should have done this, or you got to think about this, or something. I wanted some people who said, oh, great work. I didn't really, not you don't like that, but you don't, I don't like it because I wanted to hear what I didn't do right, you know? And so...
you wanted to be critiqued.
Yeah, critique, that is the word for it. And I wanted serious critique, and there's not many people you're going to run into who would understand even necessarily the kind of stuff, what this means.
Yeah.
So anyway, he said, well, it just happens that they're friends, and he was staying at her place while I was in New York. I was on the way to someplace. I was on the way to getting ready to go to Harvard for Neiman fellowship. Okay. And so anyway, I asked him. I had a copy of the 52-page reprint. I gave one to the head of ICP. Anyway, I said, could you? If she has any time at all, just like here, because I knew she was tough.
Yeah.
She was really, really tough, and I wanted to hear that. So he took it to her, and then I went to my mentor's place. They had a place and what they called Soho, now before it became Soho,
right?
So
what was Soho before Soho?
It was just, whatever, and so
just dangerous.
Yeah. No, this was a nice,
in Manhattan, so it was considered Manhattan.
Yeah, it was probably nicer there than it became, trickier. Mm-hmm. Okay, and so anyway, what happens is about a few hours later. Phone rings at my mentor's place, and it's Philip Jones Griffin, president of Magnum, wants to talk to me. And at first, I really thought it was some kind of joke. I thought somebody was
thought you were on camera.
Yeah, or pretending, or just because I got some.
Why? Because your work's so good. Why would you think that?
Because of the way some people treated me.
Yeah.
So anyway, what happened is I thought it was a joke or something, and so this is Philip Jones Griffin, and I can't even do an imitation of his voice very well. But he said a few things. He said, I'd like to meet you. Can you come to Magnum? And so I was thinking fast. I said, well, I'm sort of busy today. How about maybe tomorrow? I wanted to see if it was for real.
Yeah.
So when I went to the office, I was treated like so well. It was almost like I was there, just the place where I belong.
Yeah.
And I talked to Philip, and he told me he would like me to submit a portfolio for Magnum, and that's how it started. Then the first thing that happened, I was the first and probably the last newspaper photographer that went directly from the newspaper to Magnum.
That's amazing.
And it wasn't set fully yet because, I was still working as a staff photographer at the San Francisco Examiner. Eric Miskauskas was the director thing, and that's important. And I don't know if I've ever made that clear to him because he's such a smart guy, a good guy, a sensitive guy. Mm-hmm. And, I first went to him to talk about doing the death squads, and Jonestown had happened, and it's not that I didn't remember, but it was way in the back of my mind, and the stuff he went through when he lost a photographer, a young photographer, and it was very, very difficult. So he didn't say that; he just said, "I don't think they're going to, support this kind of idea, basically." And I thought it was, it's going to cost maybe too expensive. But no, I didn't. Time goes by and you realize how stupid you were the course is about this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then he said, well, then I can do that. And I said, well, I understand. And I was thinking because of, how much it cost. And I said, I'll just go on my vacation. So he went back out. I wasn't trying to maneuver anything.
Yeah.
And went back out, talked to the editor and city editor, and they were really good at doing big projects. That's one of the best projects I ever worked on.
Which project?
That project
Yeah.
in Central America.
Really?
I wanted to understand what was going on. I was into history in a big way, and somebody could say, what about this? No, I see the history that you probably don't pay attention to.
Did you spend a lot of time there?
Yeah, first 2 months,
Oh.
and then I came back and processed stuff and went back for another month. And there was no boring days, not one. No, and the people that I met there, the people I really cherish are people who really were helpful, just their knowledge of things going on, and just meeting Susan Masalis was amazing.
I love her work.
Yeah,
Oh, she's incredible.
She's an amazing person, and like I remember the first time. I mean, I think I met briefly, like a few seconds.
Yeah.
Early, and then like in Guatemala, she was saying so. I just came out there, and I hadn't really spoken to her.
Yeah.
Until then he said, so how's it going? And he said, what are you looking for? And I was like, my brain was like, I was cruising the area, looking, trying. It's like doing Holy Week.
Yeah.
In Guatemala.
I've been trying to get her at Leica for years. I love the Carnival Strippers work. I think it's great.
Yeah, and
it's so cool.
And the stuff she did on
Guatemala.
Not Guatemala, but my brain's going too fast. She did this amazing work. There's a revolution that was going on.
Yeah.
It's amazing, powerful work. I heard from somebody else that they had sent her a longer lens because she was working close, and I don't think she ever used that lens at all.
No.
No, because the pitch. Sometimes you gotta get closer. A lot of times it depends, and but she's brilliant. Really that she started the Magnum Foundation.
Yeah,
she's ahead of it.
She's a badass too. So you're saying that was probably your most important and relevant experience in photography?
First getting to the San Francisco Examiner, which was an amazing experience. The photographers were all crazy in good ways, and we had a great director. And it also.
So you were in San Francisco in the 70s, like during its like the.
Yeah, I got there.
Crazy Haight-Ashbury days.
Well, I got there. I think it was. So I was at Detroit News 78 to 80. First newspaper I was at 77. Oh, even that was fun.
It must have been fun to be there, right?
Oh my God!
Did you meet Jim Marshall out there?
This is why I first, but this is like funny. I'm trying to remember exactly what I was doing then. I was still working at the Examiner. I get a phone call, and it's Jim Marshall. And the thing is that everything I heard about him before, I got to know him is that this guy is crazy. You don't want it to have anything
I wish
near
I
him.
could have met him. I think he sounds cool.
Well, he was trying to sell some of his equipment because his wife had taken off because she just had enough, and at the time so I just didn't. Well, I had a couple of Leicas then. I used I think it was like M5 and the M4, which is what I used. And
they're back now. People are shooting a lot with their M4s at the moment.
Oh God, that was. I like working quietly also and capturing. Well, I'm not into necessarily pose. If people want to pose or something, I'll probably take a picture if it's interesting.
Yeah.
But it's mostly in the moment. The moment is always there. You just have to be able to identify it.
Right.
And so that, and I think I started with a Canon. Canon loaned me a camera and there's two lenses. Because I didn't have any. The longest lens I was using was a 135 2.8. That was Olympus. And the reason I used that lens because it was relatively short, and not Philip Jones Griffith, but there's a photographer who I admired greatly. Donald McCullen, and I met him in El Salvador actually, and one of the nicest things I heard was from Donald. And we ended up I think in Beirut. And he said that was really great work that he did.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So do you feel like there's anything else that you're trying to get? Like, have you gotten everything? Have you done all the work you want to do?
No.
What's on your bucket list to do next?
Well, first thing I'm interested. I'm doing film stuff, but I actually won an award for a documentary on gangs in Detroit. It was a project that there's a person from she was a producer, but she was taking like Twin Peaks and getting them to Japan and things like that. And she thought, what happens when a still photographer takes up motion pictures? So we asked anybody was interested. I think the thing was 10 minutes. That's the length of 10 minutes. Mine went, I think, 14 or 15 minutes because I realized that there's Eric. I can go on that. Anyway, there's some available video.
I want to see that. What's it called?
It's called.
I haven't seen it. I want to see it.
You haven't seen it?
No, I want to see
it's
it.
It's easy to. I'll write you the.
I love that. Okay.
The thing. It's on the website, which I haven't touched for years, but I have a few things I've done. That the word was getting out. That was the name of it.
Did you just say you haven't touched the website for years?
I get busy.
That's good. I wish I could do that, but I can't because everything's on the website now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I don't fault people for doing it. It's like you need whatever. But my wife, I discovered it a long time ago. I would rather I'm trying to figure out things that my brain's always working.
Right.
That's why now I'm older, my still working, and so I forget some things momentarily, and then 5 minutes later I'll remember.
No, you're doing just great. So what's next for Eli Reed?
Well, I did some stuff with in the New Orleans, and you got to remind me the name. Lauren.
Human Rights Watch, of course. So why don't you tell us about the Human Rights Watch that you just did in New Orleans?
Well, it's been really interesting. Vanya Village. I'm speaking too fast. Anyway, what happened is that they were doing some really interesting work, trying to correct some things, getting and documenting stuff, and they really wanted me to shoot this thing. And it was supposed to be like portraits of these people that are fighting this stuff going on and around, but they're trying to get to the place where they could stop, these companies could stop poisoning people, and most of the people are suffering from it, African Americans, so it's photographing those people. But as soon as I got there, I started photographing. First picture I took that we used was driving on a highway across the bridge and see the smoke of the Mississippi River. It's coming down from these factories. And so I really tried to go into the psyche of what the people were going through, and that's what I worked toward. And then had an event at the day before the last day. I was there, I think Lauren took about six days. She had to leave earlier to just help me on stuff. But what happened is there's also a cameraman who was shooting video who's very good. He's won awards too, and he got shot at, a shotgun, and right in the driver's side window. Luckily, I think what had happened is they were either driving, or I never got the thing, or he might have been turning in his car. He was going home. He lives in New Orleans, and myself and the producer were going back to the hotel. We both had rooms there, and so it's like I was trying at one point to explain that to people I was working with, that I felt something's going on, but you don't want to start scaring somebody, because I've been in enough situations before, and starting back when I was at Detroit News. I mean, working as a photographer, you get a sense when something's not quite right, or you can smell something coming, and you can't do it all the time. But I felt that this is going to be a little bit iffy, and that's what happened. He got shot at, and he's lucky it didn't hit him. And
you weren't with him, though.
No, he was on the way home in his car.
It's okay. That sounds scary as hell. So wait, when can we see these photographs that you took? Are they going to be somewhere we can see them, or?
Yeah, that's what we're working on. I think Magnum's going to put up there. The important thing, the group that's hiring, I really admire them.
Okay.
I would have, if I was on my own, I would have probably done it for nothing.
Well, don't tell them that. Let's not tell them that. Let's skip that.
Well, as long as you can survive and do this stuff, that's what I do.
Well, you've been surviving and doing this for a long time, and
yeah, someday I'll grow up, right?
Yeah, no, you're amazing. Are you doing any more books?
Oh yeah, there's going to be an interesting book coming up. It's like putting it together, and some people are being supportive, and it's going to be much more than people ever imagined. Because I'm going to have a lot of stuff in there that people have not seen, but it's not just that. The stuff I'm writing about, which is it's going to be pretty, out there.
When is that book out?
That's what I don't know yet. This is like just. I mean, I was thinking about just doing straightforward a book that we totally color.
Yeah.
Which not a lot of people are aware of the things. I take a lot of stuff. Some things I don't show anybody. You're just gathering. You're like shopping in the growing things, and then you start looking at it, and then it's like if I'm amazed, I say, okay, that's a keeper probably.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm glad you have someone helping you edit now. You have so much work to probably go through an archive go through your archives.
Yeah, and I can't do it without my partner here. Lauren is fantastic, and it makes a big difference. Now, when I was living in New York, okay, there's things that I could do, but then I moved to Austin, and that was a good experience teaching at the university.
Yeah.
Because I was able to.
Austin's a cool city.
Yeah.
You like it there?
Yeah, I like it. It's like the three favorite cities: Austin, New York, and of course Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Every time I come here, when I'm shooting stuff, I've shot a lot of stuff I like, and it has nothing to do with assignments, but just the look and the feel of the place.
Could you ever live in LA?
Yeah, I could. If I had a good reason to. I mean, good reason meaning I'm not rich, so.
Oh, Austin's pretty pricey these days too, though, right?
Yeah, well, the place I live now, it's okay, and it's getting better because I had this one bedroom that's filled with stuff. We have stuff in storage now.
Right.
And it's like, and that's because of Lauren.
Yeah,
Again,
that's good.
Being able to do stuff. But there's some things that, like, we did this documentary on, it's a barber. It's not like the documentaries you've seen before. It's more, I think, important for now, but we made a mistake about myself and a fellow professor there. We both had experiences in film, like the documentary I did on gangs.
Yeah.
It won an award for best short document for the Black Filmmakers Hall of Fame.
That's cool.
Yeah, and
I can't believe I haven't seen it. I'm sorry.
Well, I'll send you the. I'll write the thing. You can look at
I will.
the Facebook thing.
I'll watch it this week.
It's in there, the kind of things. And there's other things like I've written that have not. Well, it's not completed, but it's pretty completed. I've written the story of make an interesting movie, and I had some.
You're making a movie?
But that's what I want to do. I've actually done a few things. The first time I actually directed a movie, part of a movie, was the first movie I worked on, because of the 5 Heartbeats. Because I was asked, Robert, he asked me. He says about 2 weeks before the movie ends, he wants me to do this thing directing the 4 stars, the five Heartbeats. Working, you got to learn the dance routine.
Yeah.
So you want to do it like with still photography, and he said he was telling me he wanted like how you say with grainy black and white and stuff like that. And then my friend Bruce Tolleman, the guy who introduced me to working in movies, says he laughed when I told him. He says, if you do, because I was going to use a very fast film. Yeah, this is very fast film, like 3200 ISO. He said, you know what you're going to see? You're going to see baseballs on the screen, on the big screen. So we had lights coming in at the move, and Bruce was actually working that for me and his another assistant. And I had bronco. I was really sick. Didn't even know it because
bronchitis.
Yeah, and I was sweating like
that's
death.
bad.
And I was shooting. I was on the floor, moving around, telling them to do this, move around. But it looked good in the movie. It looked good. It starts like it's black and white still images, and then goes into color when they've completed the stuff. But that was, I hadn't even thought about it as being my first thing directing something in a movie.
I'm so glad you came in yesterday with Bruce. How did you meet Bruce?
That's interesting. I was 2 days out of Beirut in '84, and they had an assignment for me. I got back to New York, and there's an assignment for, I think it was a German magazine, to photograph the Super Sunday, whatever. Mm-hmm. So going on there, and there's, I think it was Alabama, the governor that got shot.
Yeah.
We were waiting for the press, and I was with a press bus and stuff like that, waiting for the press for Jesse Jackson, who's going to talk with him. They had this meeting. So there's a guy he was a cameraman from England, who was using this camera like a weapon, knocking people. So now I didn't know Bruce, but this
Please tell me that wasn't Bruce doing that.
No, it wasn't Bruce. Bruce was just waiting, and Bruce is, you see, he's shorter than I am, and there's a guy who's a big guy like myself that worked African American photographer, worked for Newsweek, and the three of us didn't know each other, but. Right. I looked at this guy. I know what's coming. And I looked across the gentleman on the other side, and we just sort of nodded to each other, and then got in the way of this guy and told Bruce, "Take your time." So when they came in, it was like, it's a matter of what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
It wasn't gonna hurt me, what the photographs I made. I didn't look at them just like, oh, this is the ultimate. I gotta do this. Sometimes that's the case, but this was more the thing of that's not nice what this guy was gonna do. I got hit in the head
I heard
once.
it's brutal out there with when you're trying to get photos. There's some real jerks out there. I understand.
Well, let me tell you about a jerk. I got hit by the back of my head in New York when the guy who was mayor was he lost the second thing, and this guy hit me in the head with this tripod or whatever the heck he was using. But good grief! I looked around. I couldn't tell who did it, and then I went back in. No time to screw around like that. You're trying to do your work. And he does it again. And I whirled around so fast, and I was ready to throw him to the floor. I'm so fast, 3 or 4 other photographers went down on the ground. And then I was glaring, and he said, it wasn't me. I knew it was him, but he got the point. There wouldn't have been a third time.
Yeah.
There would not have been a third time.
How could he even reach you? You're so tall.
He had this thing that's just, it's like stupid. But there's a lot of stupidity. And plus, I got a lot of nonsense from some people before. Just start trying to get work. And I'm not going to repeat that. It's not, all it does is
basically there's a lot of jerks out there.
Yeah. So
that's normal.
All kinds of jerks.
I know some.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that you were able to come in today, and so now you have a flight back to Texas. And then you're working on a new documentary, a new book, and so we're going to be seeing a lot more of Eli Reed.
Well, the documentary, I hope it's not going to be a doc. I think it's going to be
a movie.
A feature movie.
Awesome. Is there a part for Disco in the movie? Disco, where are you? Disco wants to be in a movie.
He's right there. There's always room for Disco.
He's just back there. Well, I think I guess that about covers it for today, right? Do we have anything else that you want to talk about? You want to let anybody know about?
Well, there's some things coming, but I can't really talk about them because they're in
because
flux.
Lauren will come back in here and scold us.
Thank you, Lauren.
Well, thank you so much for listening to the Paris Chong Show and visiting with me and our special guest, the incredible, talented Eli Reed. And for more information, go to theparischongshow.com.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a Paris Chong Show. It's a Paris Chong Show.